Welcome, it's Chris, Liege of Games. Recently, I got this game sent to me right here, and it got me thinking, how do I talk about something that is often malaligned or just never given a full chance to shine? And so what I wanted to do is highlight the little brother of board games. Let's highlight the expansion today. And this particular collection in front of me, let me just give you a short glimpse of why these are all in front of me, the commonality between all of these. And what is that? They're all freaking great. Let's talk for a minute. So the big commonality, and this is what got me thinking about it with this one, is this is the Quest Kids. This is the big bads of Tolk's Cave. You've probably never played this game. You've probably never heard of this game. But if you recognize a few of these others here, you'll know where I'm going, right? The big commonality between all of these expansions right here that I have seen, that I have really enjoyed, that I have really wanted to exclaim from the mountaintops, is that all of these expansions are so good that I do not ever want to play the base game without them. That is the epitome of what expansions should be in our hobby. And all too often, they're not that. And so I think it needs to be highlighted, the fact that there are things that do that, and we need to pay more attention to them, because oftentimes, especially myself on crowdfunding, I find that, I'm getting all of the expansions, right? Because they come with it and I don't want to miss out on the content. And too often the content is there. The content is sitting over there still not played, or played once and you kind of go, meh. But rare and the exception are the expansions that you go, I am never not going to include this. And that's what these have done for me. If you know anything about the channel, you know I love hard co-ops. This is the Fer Brigade expansion for the Loop from Pandasaurus. I picked this one up the second it went on pre-order. You know me, I don't pre-order. I love this. 2 new characters, more items, adds a whole other element of things to the game. I love these 2 characters more than I love the characters that were added in the first expansion. That's how much this means to me. And it's an amazing expansion. Look how small this is. It doesn't need to be $50 or $60. Yeah, I'm looking at you, crowdfunding. It doesn't need to have 17 miniatures. It needs to have meaningful content. They sent me this. This isn't the newest expansion. This is one of the older expansions for the Quest Kids. My kids love the Quest Kids. My kids are probably, fair enough, a little bit old for the Quest Kids, the base game, especially. But this one adds more of a campaign. It adds more of a dynamic. It adds more strategy. And so now, although it runs a little bit longer, that's probably the biggest detriment with this one. It makes the game go a little bit too long for my kids right now. But it makes it slight step up in complexity and still allows them to learn and have fun and keep the base elements that make the game so much fun for them to begin with that much more. Doesn't take away, doesn't overcomplicate, usually doesn't make too much longer, because that's also a big fault with expansions nowadays, right? All of a sudden you add that extra module, you add that extra phase, you add that extra faction, that extra element, and the game length goes from, ooh, that's a nice sweet spot, to, ooh, man, are we still playing this? And that's not what you want, right? And that's where you get Dune, and why Dune is also the aberration here, especially with Immortality. When people were looking at this and saying, Rise of Ix, that's amazing. I never want to play without Rise of Ix. Why would I want another expansion? Is this compatible with each other? Which one should I choose? The answer is both. The answer is freaking both. Again, as a non-worker placement person, you added in more and you kept me engaged. That's not easy to do. Another game here. This one, no one's going to have looked at this one a second thought, but this is Puzzle Strike 2 from Serlin Games. I cannot extol the virtues of Puzzle Strike 2, and the fact that this over doubled the content of what makes this game so unique in the expansions and the expansion deck that you're buying from as a completely out there different deck builder. Take that style of game that's head to head. This game is amazing. This expansion just gives more of the most amazing thing that's present in the base game in the first place. Sorcerer's Arena. Sorcerer's Arena, you can't state that this skirmish style game with a Disney affluent appearance is definitely, you know, just something that is more than meets the eye. You know, we talk about the sum of the parts sometimes, and a couple recent reviews I've seen on bigger name games have said, you know what, the sum of the parts is somehow lesser than the individual parts. This is a game that adds just more of what the base game brings, and somehow with the mechanics that the OP has done for me personally in this game, the sum is greater than the parts. Like, I shouldn't like this skirmish game as much as I do. I just shouldn't. But the way they've layered it, the way they've added stuff on, the way they've made the characters asymmetric, the way they've made it more than just a run up to each other and smash and bang into each other, you know, I love it. And not even to mention the oldest expansion here on the table that I picked up over on the latest sale, I think over Christmas or Thanksgiving or Black Holiday, Friday, whatever it was, right? For War Chest, again, an expansion that I never want to play without when it comes to a head-to-head dueling style game. So that's the purpose of this video. You know, it reminds me of Lords of Waterdeep, Champions of Midgard. Those are the other two prime examples that I see always extolled of the expansions that are never not going to be included. But I wanted to give you, especially with these, maybe not this one, I picked this one up in 2022, but these were the 2022 best expansions because they just did amazing stuff. I don't think this one was actually 2022 though, so asterisk there. But these other four, who dog. And I wanted to just put that out there. So if you're looking for something, don't look for mass quantity, right? You know me, you know crowdfunding. I talk about it all the time. Especially lately, the more expansions I see, the less of them I get. Because I just find that your mileage may completely vary. And so picking and choosing, the all-ins are not good content-wise. They're good for not making you feel like you're missing out, but they aren't good for actually being incorporated into the gameplay a vast majority of the time. And that's also the other take-home point of this. And I wanted to point it out. So there you go. And you know what? Truth be told, one last thing here just to point this out. Retail, crowdfunding then retail, retail. Food for thought. So, you don't see a whole lot of expansions from the crowdfunding side of things that necessarily are in the same context or conversation. Again, food for thought when you're going in and you're deciding what to back and how much. You always hear me on the crowdfunding say, your base pledge is always your best value. Well, your expansion might always be best at retail. Just, again, putting that out there is something to consider. Asterisks, of course. Majority of the time. Stay classy. Have a great day. See you around. Expansions! Freaking love this one. I love it. Pandasaurus, call me.